Hello, my dear students. Very good morning to one and all. Once again, I welcome you all to this online classes. Hope you people are attending the classes regularly. In my previous video, I have given an elaborate information about social, psychological and applied perspectives. Then I have told you about language, words. In my previous video, I have finished these topics, that is words, linguistic abstractness, language, gender and syntax, language and social thought, between language effects, words, identity and impressions of others, language, culture and meaning. These are all I have finished. If you haven't watched this video, means kindly go through the video. Now we shall see our next topic. Today's topic is utterances. In that we are having interpersonal underpinning of utterance, production and comprehension, face management and politeness theory, interpersonal underpinnings, impositions, power and distance. Let us see one by one. First we will see utterances. Utterances means words do not exist in isolation. They are combined with other words and actions to create sentences and utterances. To make a sentence, we need some words. After taking words, we have to make in proper arrangements. Sentence we have to follow correct exact sentence patterns, because exact sentence patterns will give correct meaning. After making the sentence, what we have to do? We have to utterance. We have to say, we have to read. Traditionally, sentences have been the fundamental unit for most psycholinguistic research, but it is utterances are a speaker's conversational turn that is many respects are most relevant for social psychology. Sentences can be produced and read in isolation, but utterances cannot. Utterances must be produced and interpreted in the context of others, and hence a variety of interpersonal considerations come into play. Moreover, unlike sentences, the meaning of a person's conversational turn must be recognized immediately if the exchange is to have any chance of success. These two features, interpersonal considerations and an immediate search for meaning. These two features, interpersonal considerations and immediate search for meaning, serve as the organizing principles for material in this section. Next we will see utterances and meaning. Humans appear to have both the need and the ability to perceive others as intentional agents, to see others' actions as a result of their intentional states. This is certainly true for language, and a fundamental assumption on the part of language users is that speakers are saying something meaningful, that there is something to be extracted from their words. This assumption is fundamental to many psychological theories of comprehension and speech act theories, as well as certain computational models and models of text processing. If language users are primed to search for meaning, then for what type of meaning do they search? What exactly is meaning? and can it be captured in a systematic way? There are several relevant frameworks in this regard. Next, we will see interpersonal underpinnings of utterance, production, and comprehension. Language users have goals that exist at varying levels of abstraction. There are relatively clear lower level goals to request, complement, threaten, and so on that are captured by speech act theory. In speech, we can see these things, that is, request, compliment, threaten, daring, so many things we can see in a speech. If a person is speaking, means that person's modulation, that person's intonation may tell that what he wants to say, whether he wants to make requests, whether he wants to make threaten, whether he wants to show some other things, we can see on the basis of his utterances. There are also higher level interpersonal goals such as being liked, impressing others, establishing closeness and rapport, and so on. These interpersonal goals play an important role in language and can be viewed through the lens of face, work, and politeness theory. Politeness theory. Next, we will see face management and politeness theory. Here, Penelope Brown and Stephen Levinson's politeness theory is an attempt to explain how people phrase their utterances as a function of various social concerns. Try to remember these great people, great scholar, Penelope Brown and Stephen Levinson's, because they have told politeness theory. The concepts of face and face work, as articulated by Erving Goffman in 1967, are central to this approach. And in fact, their theory can be viewed as a merging of Grecian pragmatics with Goffman's microsociology. Originally published as a chapter in 1978 and then later reissued as a book in 1987, its influence has been and continues to be substantial in pragmatics and socio-linguistics. In social psychology, Roger Brown's 1988 Rogan Brown's endorsement resulted in a brief flurry of social psychological activity. According to Goffman, in 1967, one's face or public identity is always at stake when interacting with others, and because of this, people are strongly motivated to protect and manage their face. Try to remember this theory, try to remember this philosophy of Goffman. Moreover, because face can only be given by others, one might claim a particular identity, but it must be ratified by others. It is in everyone's best interest to maintain each other's face. Politeness theory is an attempt to specify precisely how this happens linguistically, to specify the linguistic means by which face work is accomplished. This is what face management and politeness theory. So I have given here we are having some more points regarding face management and politeness theory. The essence of politeness is to knowledge symbolically that a threat is being made. This is accomplished by deviating from maximally efficient communication. In general, research has demonstrated that perceived politeness of the strategies proposed by Brown and Levinson vary as predicted. Moreover, people appear to attend spontaneously to politeness. Memory for wording that conveys politeness is better than chance. Brown and Levinson divided face into two basic and universal desires. One is negative face, or the desire for autonomy of action, and positive face, or the desire for closeness, with others. My dear students, try to remember the theory which were made by Brown and Levinson, that they have divided phase into two basic things. One is negative phase, another one is positive phase. Negative phase can be said as the desire for autonomy of action, and positive can be said as the desire for closeness with others. Both negative phase and positive phase are subject to continued threat during social interaction. Request, for example, are the prototypical negative phase threatening act because they clearly impose on the recipient, those who are listening, those who are receiving the information. They can understand that this man utterances are showing that he is negative. People are aware of this. In fact, they tend to overestimate the extent to which a request is threatening. Criticisms and disagreements are examples of acts that threaten the recipient's positive face. The speaker's own face may be threatened as well. So that is why people used to say that face is the index of mind. Face is the index of mind. By saying a face of a person, we can say that what is there in his mind, what is there in her mind, by seeing his or her face. So next we will see interpersonal underpinnings. What is interpersonal underpinnings, and what are the things which we are going to see in this topic? Let us see. Although politeness is driven by face concerns, these concerns can vary over time, settings, individuals, cultures, and so on. The original Brown and Levinson model cut a wide swath by assuming that three broad variables. One is the culturally determined imposition of the act. Second one is the psychological distance between the interactants and the hearer's power over the speaker would affect those concerns. So try to remember these three broad variables made by this famous Brown and Levinson. One is the cultural determined imposition of the act. Second one is the psychological distance between the interactants, and the third one is the hearer's powers over the speaker. More specifically, as hearer power, distance, and act imposition increase, so too does the overall weightiness of the act, and increased politeness is assumed to reflect increased weightiness. So this is what the interpersonal underpinnings. Next we will see imposition. So what is the role of imposition while making utterances? We are going to see here. Fairly consistent of support has been found for the imposition variable, with increasing imposition associated with increasing politeness. So with increasing imposition associated with increasing politeness. This effect has been found for request, expressions of gratitude, recommendations versus reports, accounts, as well as other speech acts. Some null findings have been reported, but they are in the minority. This is what the imposition. Next we will see the major topic here, power. How power plays a vital role while making an utterances. The relationship between power and language has been investigated across a number of domains. In terms of politeness, the basic prediction is that higher speaker power related to the recipient will be associated with the lower levels of politeness. Once again, I am recalling that the point. The basic prediction is that higher speaker power will be associated with the lower levels of politeness. In general, research has demonstrated this is to be the case. This effect has been found with the experimental studies of request. In addition, power has been found to have the predicted effects on the politeness of messages conveying bad news. At the time of saying negative things, at the time of saying bad news, very worst news, if you maintain politeness means it will have some prediction. The relationship between power and language has been investigated by research in many different domains. Example Bourdieu in 1991, and some of this research can be interpreted within politeness theory. Early on, for example, Roger Brown and colleagues drew attention to and provided some initial analysis of the manner in which terms of address both reflect power differentials and serve as a means of negotiating power. Findings that are completely consistent with Brown and Levinson's politeness theory. Similarly, language variation, as discussed in earlier, can and has been interpreted in terms of power. Some language varieties are assumed to be more prestigious and hence a marker of speaker power. Try to remember this line, very major line. Some language varieties are assumed to be more prestigious and hence a marker of speaker power. Similarly, variation in speech rate, lexical diversity, and language intensity are related to perceived speaker competence and hence to power. This is what the power. Next we shall see the distance, the role of distance in utterances. The relationship between distance and politeness has also been investigated across several domains. Unlike power, however, the results have been mixed. Consistent with politeness theory, some researchers have reported greater politeness as a function of increasing distance between interlocutors. Others have reported the exact opposite. Distance is a multifaceted variable that has been measured and manipulated in a variety of ways. Researchers have sometimes confounded distance, that is familiarity, and affect, that is liking. Remember, confound and distance, which means familiarity, and affect, which means liking. Higher levels of politeness have been found to be associated with greater interpersonal distance, that is, interacts are more polite with people with whom they are less familiar, which means a stranger. If you are going to meet a stranger, you can't speak harshly with a stranger because he is a new person. He is new to you as well as you are new to him. So at that time you have to maintain politeness, softness in your utterances. At the same time, the stranger also has to make politeness. He has to maintain politeness in his conversation, in his utterances. But also with greater liking, people are more polite with those whom they like. The relationship between distance and language also has been investigated independent of politeness theory. Independent of politeness theory. Some more points I have given here for distance. Communication variables that are correlated with relationship distance include verbal immediacy, responsiveness, gestural level, speech accommodation, and others. Analysis of language in marital communication have been undertaken as well. Recently, researchers have investigated reference as markers of perceptions of a relationship. In English, speakers have options when referring to people with whom they may be associated. One basic contrast is between a plural pronoun, that is, example, we went to the movies, versus separate reference, that is, example, Mark and I went to the movies. Found that the use of first person plurals results in perceptions of a closer relationship than the use of separate reference. So, my dear students, this is what the utterances and other things. Hope you got the points. With these few slides, I would like to conclude my video. Hope you might have got the points. If you have any doubts regarding words, language, words, utterances, you may ask the questions in comment section. In my next video, I will try to tell you about conversations. So I have finished language, words, utterances. Now I have to finish conversations. Inshallah, in my next video, I will try to complete this topic, conversations. So with these few slides, with these few points, I would like to conclude my video. Thank you very much. Thank you.